in America. I yield back my time.
I thank the gentlelady, and I think this is one of those issues where the American people are well ahead of the elected officials on this issue, because I think most Americans recognize the importance of us making things again in this country. And this agenda, this Make in America agenda, is really about two things. One, rebuilding our manufacturing sector so that we can make products here in America and sell them from here all over the world. And secondly, about creating good jobs so that more families are able to make it in America. Americans inherently know that manufacturing is critical to our nation. It's not just that manufacturing creates good-paying middle-class jobs and fosters innovation, but we've also been incredibly proud as a country of the fact that we make things and we make the best products in the world. We need and want more success stories like General Motors' recent announcement that they'll be adding and preserving over 4,000 jobs across the United States, or Ford's decision to move 2,000 jobs back to the United States from Japan, Mexico, and India. And in fact, Ford is planning to add another 7,000 jobs here in the United States. We need more stories like that, that recognize that we make the best products, we have the best workers in the world. And I now would like to yield back again to the gentleman from California.
Mr. Cicilline, I was just listening to you discuss the situation with General Motors and Chrysler. That was a very courageous move that the Democratic Congress, together with President Obama, made when they made a decision to save the American automobile industry. Many people, particularly the Republicans here in this House, said, don't do it. Government shouldn't interfere with business. Let the good go and the bad die. Well, this was several 100,000 small businesses across the nation that are supply chains that would have died. But the decision was made, a very courageous decision by the President, to support the foundation of one of the great industries in this world and one of the great industries of America. And so General Motors and Chrysler did receive a bailout. And here we are today with two companies back at it, making cars, making it in America, and by golly, we're going to import from Detroit. You know, that was one of the great advertisements there ever was. But that's what this is all about. That's what this Make It in America agenda is. There's another piece of this agenda that we really must pay attention to, and that is the future energy source of America are going to be renewables together with gas and nuclear. But these new industries need support in their early days. And this is a tax policy. There has been in place for about 7 or 8 years now, a very robust tax policy to support the new renewable industries. The production tax credit, when you put a solar panel up on your roof and you draw down the energy, there is a tax credit available to homeowners. Those are very, very good. We need one more little twist to it. I saw this in my own district with those wind turbines down there. They were being made offshore. And yet our tax money was appropriately supporting the energy. But if you add to it one additional fact, and that is a tax policy that supports a wind turbine made in America so that our tax money uses American-made. Another piece of legislation I have simply says, in the green technologies, wonderful, we need to do it. But let's make sure that those solar panels, those wind turbines, are made in America.
If the gentleman just yield, I mean, one of the most frustrating parts of that is when you look at the technology that forms the basis for those products, they were developed in large part, sometimes exclusively, by the great scientists and researchers at our great universities, and then they're manufactured outside the United States, and we're using public money to make those purchases. So you're absolutely right. Having that requirement that it be manufactured in the United States is a critical part of it. And I yield back.
Pretty basic thought for me is that it's our tax money, spend it on American-made equipment. The other piece of this is that these tax policies, these subsidies really work. I want to give you an example. About a century ago, nearly a century ago, America decided it needed a new energy source called oil. And over the years, subsidies were put in place to encourage investment in the oil industry. And it worked. It worked phenomenally. Created the best, most profitable industry in America, the petroleum industry. $970 billion, just slightly short of $1 trillion of profit after taxes for the petroleum industry. And after a century of being subsidized by taxpayers, it's time for those to end. Let that industry help us with the deficit. End the subsidy for big oil. Return the money to the American Treasury. Bring down our deficit. There's a lot of money here, depending on how you count it, somewhere between $2, $3, or $12 billion a year in subsidies for this industry. Let's end that. But unfortunately, we're involved in a debate here in Congress over whether we keep the tax subsidy for big oil and shift the burden of solving the deficit to seniors. An incredible policy put forth by our Republican colleagues that would force seniors to pay more for their medical insurance and literally end Medicare for everyone that's not yet 55 years of age. Terminate Medicare, shift the tax burden to them, and keep the tax subsidy for big oil. Hello? What's that all about? Big oil doesn't need any more help. The deficit needs the help. Don't give the tax money, tax breaks to big oil. And for heaven's sakes, don't terminate Medicare and force today's seniors and tomorrow's seniors to add the burden while keeping the benefit to big oil. This is about choices here. This is about choices. How do we use our tax money? For the future energy industries? Do we use our tax money to benefit big oil and force seniors in nursing homes to pay more? That's not out there 10 years from now. That's right now because the Republican budget reduces Medicaid. The biggest single part of Medicare is to subsidize seniors in nursing homes. So seniors in nursing homes, their families would pay more while big oil is protected.
Yeah, if the gentleman yield back,